What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Destroyer, and welcome back to my Let's Play of What Remains of EDITH Finch. This is part number 2, and I thought for the rest of the series I would ditch the webcam, so I just thought I'll just run some commentary, make it a bit easier and a bit quicker. But in part number 1, we played as Molly. We're still in her bedroom here, and what do we turned into a cat, then an owl, then a shark, then a monster, and now we're back in her room. But I noticed as well when I was editing part 1, I did miss like 2 pieces of dialogue. At the start, when you first reach the house, you try and unlock the door, the front door with the key. Obviously it doesn't work, and then there's like a little prompt to check like the little mail slot in the door. So I did go back and record those little bits, and I will insert them in the video now.
I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't. Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me. Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
And we're back. I also added a little clip of me, of Edith trying to open the basement door as well. Obviously the key didn't fit, so I forgot to mention that just before, but yeah, there we go. So now we're up to speed. I think we've interacted with everything so far that we can anyway in the game, so let's continue on.
I can't describe it, but I felt like some part of Molly was still here.
I think you said that in part 1. Alright, I think this is the only way out, so let's continue. Hopefully we don't turn into a cat. It's funny how you can hear a cat meowing. I don't think you can go this way, no, so let's go.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
There's the lounge room. And I noticed that, look at that. Brighter. Dark. HDR. SDR. Anyway, small things amuse me. Let's continue on. There's a few bird cages in here.
I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room.
Okay, looks like there was a lizard in that one. Lurpy. I like it how there's pictures of the birds and stuff. Purpley. What's that say? Furpy or something? Derpy. No name for this one. Not that I can see anyway. Oh, Bob was a snake. Interesting. And Burpee. Cool.
We got along, and it was a good place to hide from my mom.
So we're in Sven and Edie's room by the look of it.
Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Good old Lewis. I remember when I was watching playthroughs of this back in the day, all the YouTubers were getting really emotional when they were playing through Lewis's spit. But see how we go when I get to it. That's cool. You got the handprints of everyone there. Molly, Barbara, Calvin, Sam, Walter, Dawn, Gus, Groovy Pants, Gus. Who else we got there? Who is that? Oh, Gregory, Lewis, Milton, and Edith.
Her room was like a museum.
It is. It's crazy. ODIN, 1880 to 1937.
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune. And misfortune. ODIN Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
Wow, so he took the original house with him. That's crazy.
But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home. Orcas Island. ODIN Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Alright, cool.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
There's the other side of the door, obviously.
Edie knit me a new pair of gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones.
So is that Edie as a child, I'm assuming? Must be. Because Edith is only 17, I think, so... Mole man beneath the Finch house.
Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
Okay.
I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time.
Edie won't go. 72-year-old woman refuses to evacuate because of a little forest fire.
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
Seems like Edie was quite a stubborn woman. Built in 1937, Sven Finch.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
I find it quite odd that Finch would be a Nordic last name. Just having trouble wrapping that around my head. Finch doesn't seem like a Nordic last name to me. And also, every time I read the name Finch or hear it, I automatically think of American Pie. Alright, anything else to interact with here? I don't think so. So there's Sven. Yeah, fantastic. There's Norway's flag. I think they're Norwegian.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Alright, let's go. Oh no, look at the pink carpet. Why would you have carpet in a bathroom? You what, mate? Ah, the mirror that doesn't work. Some ducks. Cool.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife, Kay, left on the house was the pink bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's
It
sealed.
was a pretty big trace.
No doubt.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Feeling like a funhouse or some sort of escape room. I like it.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
So this looks like a dark room, obviously. Check it out. So we got one side we got the military and the other side we got astronaut space stuff. That's kind of cool. Fort Calvin. Fort Sam. Nice.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him.
That's crazy. So this is actually Edith's grandfather's, I guess. Crazy, man. To think, you know. Command center. Explore the universe.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
Wow, check it out. Candles, we got pedals as well. Good stuff.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did.
Wow.
At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam! Calvin! Dinner's ready! Coming!
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
Calvin! I'm not gonna tell you again!
or maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it.
Yikes forever.
I think he'd already made up his mind.
This first person view is terrifying, man.
That's what I want to remember about my brother.
There we go.
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Wow. Yeah, that first person view made it a little bit more freaky. Especially if you don't like heights.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
You remember doing or trying the exact same thing? Jeez, man.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
Okay, can we go up here? Nice.
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again. The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
And so we can open this up. I guess if we want to access this part of the house again, because we couldn't go through the doors, obviously. Alright, I'm assuming we can go back in here, hopefully, yep. I was going to say, jeez. Alright. There's a bra, awesome.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
Yep, oh look at that, she even had her own doll. Introducing Barbara Finch, my friend Bigfoot. Looks like she won a couple of awards there, that's crazy. And like I said in part 1, I've turned the music off. So, and I think this is the bit where, like, we're about to play the scene where you play like you within a comic book, and that is where John Carpenter's Halloween theme is playing. So you obviously won't be hearing that because I've turned the music off, but I'd rather not have any claims on my videos. Seattle Starlets. Happy birthday, Barbara. That looks like a pizza, man, not a birthday cake.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Yeah, there's one of those clocks. It's normally black and white. Those cat clocks. Alright. Let's get it.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it the surprise ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up, a has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
Alright, so we got control again. Sounds like Rick, her boyfriend's got a slight lisp. There's a crutch.
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Now I know for a fact the game set up these cans just so we can knock them down. Swing and a miss. Yeah, it's kind of weird playing this part of the game without any music, but I prefer this than getting a copyright claim on the
The
video.
gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
So this is obviously where Sven cut his hand. That would explain the blood.
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Yeah, whack.
Oh!
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Alright.
Walter, are you there?
Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And he was. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully. Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
Let me guess. He's moved. He's disappeared. Yep.
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was...
Ding dong.
At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box was all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Of course, there's a picture of her ear on the back.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Yes, indeed. Alright, I think I'll leave part 2 right here, guys. Quick recap, I guess. So at the start, we explored Sven and Edie's room and learnt about Odin. How we, what's the word I'm looking for? Transported his house from Ingborg to Washington, which would have been quite a feat to do. And then we learnt about Calvin, how he died, and obviously Barbara. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Obviously the way Calvin died is quite obvious. Barbara, assuming that I guess the hookman killed her, murdered her. because obviously monsters aren't real. But hey ho, there we go. But anyway, guys, there we go. Part 2 done and dusted. Yeah, it's quite a good game. I do enjoy it. Let's see how many we've got left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can't even count, but that's fine. But anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Record some more, get them all out. I'm hoping to finish the game today. I think I've got just enough time to do that. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more content, and I shall speak to you in part 3. Adios.